Well, so what are we gonna do today, Cousin PW?
The same thing we do every day, Melvin. Try to take over the neighborhood. Hey y'all, Bloodwing here, back to bring some grumpiness to your internet. And for this edition of My Opinion, we're going to talk about guilt by association. I recently heard a YouTuber state on a live stream that guilt by association was okay and even necessary. And the scenario given was, if you hang out with a drug dealer, then you are obviously guilty by association. Now, no. Guilt by association is never okay. Yes, my mother warned me to be careful who I hung out with, because people are going to think that you're guilty if you hang out with certain people. If I hung out with a drug dealer, they might think that I also do drugs and I know about their drug operation. But that's not necessarily true. In my youth, I used to hang out with a lot of bikers. Yes, I'm talking outlaws, Hells Angels, Sons of Silence, those guys, you know, with the colors and the leather jackets and motorcycles. And I hung out with quite a few of them. But I guarantee you there was a whole lot about their organization I didn't know anything about. And I didn't want to know anything about. Can hanging out with certain people make you look bad? In people's opinions, yes. But that's their opinion, that's their perception, and that's their problem. That does not make it so that you know what's going on and that you were aware of what they were doing. Hanging out or being in a Discord or being in a live chat or in a live stream or whatever with someone that perhaps has a less than savory reputation does not mean you know everything they're about, does not mean that you know that everything they're going to do, does not mean that you are complicit in their crimes. I have a lot of friends over the years that I've disagreed with things that they've done. And not all disagreements have to happen in public, folks. Lately, that seems to be the general consensus, that if you disagree with someone on YouTube or on Twitter, it has to be public. No, it does not. I've mentioned before, we all have that neighbor, you know, the man and his wife that argue out in the yard so loud that everybody has to shut their windows because they don't want to hear it. That's annoying. And it's not the way that things should be done. It's perfectly acceptable to handle your issues with another person in private and not have to answer to everybody else about what was said and how you disagreed. Just because this is a public forum and we're YouTubers don't mean that everything that we do has to be done in public. And just because I know someone or hang around someone or like someone's content and talk to them doesn't mean that I am aware of everything that they do or intend to do. So no, guilt by association is never okay. Are people going to form their opinions by the people that you hang out with? Yes, and you should be aware of that. If you hang out with somebody with a bad reputation, people are going to wonder about you, and you should bear that in mind. Whether or not that should matter is up to you. But to actually claim guilt because you're friends with someone is never okay. Let me repeat that. It is never okay. And is not a valid argument. It is not a valid piece of evidence for any sort of content, any video, or anything else that you put out of a person's guilt. So, there's my opinion. You're welcome to my opinion, and you're welcome to have your own. And as always, Get out of my yard.